Message to the people. Lesson 2, leadership. To lead suggests that you must have followers. For others to follow you, you must be superior to them in the things that they must follow you for. You must have superior ability in the particular. You must always be ahead by way of knowledge of all those you lead. The moment you fall down from the position of superior ability, you will automatically fail to lead and you will have to follow others. Therefore, you must be ever vigilant in keeping ahead of those you lead by getting the latest and most correct information for which they are searching, because for it they are following you. People only respect leaders and follow them when there is something superior in them. A leader must have personality. He must be clean cut in his appearance so as not to be criticized. An untidy leader is always a failure. He must be neatly dressed, and his general appearance must be clean and presentable because people are supposed to follow him in his manner, behavior, and his general conduct. A leader's hair should always be well kept. His teeth must also be in perfect order, for people will criticize him for his unkempt hair and his bad teeth. Your shoes and other garments must also be clean. If you look ragged, people will not trust you. They will critically say he has no clothing, his shoes are very poor, and it is logical that whatever money he gets hold of, he will use it on himself rather than for the purpose for which he makes his appeal. Never show your personal poverty to those you lead. They will never trust you. This does not mean that you should not reveal the poverty of the cause you represent, because that cause is your cause and the people's cause, in which both of you are interested. Never tell lies to those you lead. Sooner or later, they will find you out, and then your career will come to an abrupt end. No man ever trusts a person a second time whom he disbelieves once and has proof for his disbelief. A leader, under all circumstances, must carry himself with dignity. He must not be a snob, but he must maintain his pride. A leader cannot well afford to mix himself up with anything that is not dignified or self-respecting. If you have to do something that you know you will be morally and socially ashamed of if someone else knows, never do it. But if you have to do it, see to it that you are careful that no one else knows. Don't carry your weakness on your face or in your eyes. Somebody will detect it and you will be ruined. If you have personal weaknesses, try to conquer them and hide them as long as you can until you have conquered them. Otherwise, you will be ruined. Every man can conquer his vices by bringing his subconscious will to play upon and against such vices. In everything you do, play the gentleman. Never be a hog, it doesn't pay. You lose a friend every time you play the hog. Keep smiling with the world, even though your mother is dead. Smile with the world, and the world will smile back at you. Be vexed with the world, and the world will be vexed with you. Nobody is obligated to you to make you happy, so don't carry your sorrow to the world and on your sleeves. Keep them to yourself and get out of them the best way you can. Leaders are not children. They must not therefore act as children. Leaders must be self-possessed, confident, feeling self-reliant. When your followers see that self-confidence, they will believe in you and follow you. Always speak out right from your head and from your heart. If your heart is not in it, it is a lie. If your head is not in it, it is pure sentiment. Your heart and your head must work together. People observing you can always tell when you are sincere. That is, when you speak from your heart and your head. They can always tell when you are fooling them by looking into your eyes and you cannot stand their gaze. At that time, indeed, you are lying. When your heart and your head is in it, your whole body expresses the truth and you can hold any man's stare. A leader must not be extravagant. He must not be flashy in the sense of being over sporty. People will not think you serious. Always make your followers believe you are serious. You can be serious without being sour. Always think before you speak or act. Don't write or speak just to hear yourself. Speak or write only when you have something to say, and never touch anything by way of leadership that you do not know about, because somebody who knows about it will have a joke at your expense. A leader must always have something to say, otherwise he forfeits his leadership, and someone else who has something to say will supplant it. A leader should always make an effort to be known in his community. He must acquaint himself with everything that is happening. He must know the governor of the state or country, the secretary of his state or his colonial secretary. He must know the mayor of his city and all the members of the legislature. He must know the bishops of his city, the administrative heads of all government departments, all the preachers and doctors and lawyers and prominent businessmen. Don't be seen with communists too often if you know them. Never take part in their meetings unless you are to make a speech against their principles, and always see that it is known by the public that that is your only reason for going among them. Never let them call you comrade for others to hear, because you will be branded a communist and your leadership will be destroyed. You must seek to know all the people you want to be in your organization. Visit them in their homes, their workplaces, and anywhere you can meet them, and always extend to them a glad hand. Always be diplomatic in your approach. If a Negro is in company with a white man, never talk to him about the UNIA. If he is in company with someone you think is not in sympathy with the UNIA, don't talk to him about the UNIA. Wait until he is alone. Never say anything to one person who may be in sympathy with the UNIA in the presence of 2 or 3 people, unless you know that the others are also sympathetic, because when you are gone, the others may try to undo the good relationship. But when you meet Negro strangers, you may talk to all of them about the aims of the UNIA and try to win them over. Never divide or create confusion between the different colors in the Negro race. Always try to prove that the standard Negro is the African, and that all Negroes should be proud of their black blood without insulting any color within the race. This is very, very important. The idea of the UNIA is to unite into one race, all the shades of color, and build up a standard race. You should discourage intermarriage between white and blacks and other races. You should tell the people that it is an honor to be black, and that nothing is wrong with the black skin but bad conditions. Tell them that a well-kept black woman or black man is as good as a well-kept white man or woman. Never allow your followers to have their children play with white dolls, because they will grow up to like white children and they will have them. Discourage the Negroes from having white pictures in their homes, because those pictures will inspire them to become white in their ideas. Inspire them to have pictures of Negroes who have achieved greatness in their homes. Tell Negro parents that they must teach their children Negro history, Negro pride, and self-respect in their homes to counteract the elementary and high school education they get that holds up the superiority of the white race. Let the people know that God is not white, nor is he black, but God is a spirit and universal intelligence of which each and every one is a part. All of us are a part of that intelligence. No man can have the full intelligence of God, only partial intelligence. Therefore, no man can be God. Neither the white man nor the black man is God. They are particles of God. Let the people know that in them and in themselves only is the power to rise. Let them know that God does not go out of his way to give people positions or jobs, or to give them good conditions such as they desire. They must do that for themselves out of the fullness of nature that God has created for everybody. God does not build cities, towns, nations, homes, or factories. Men and women build them, and all those who want them must work for themselves and pray to God to give them strength to do it. Special notes on intermarriage and race purity. For a rich Negro to marry a poor white is an unpardonable crime and sin, because it simply means the transference of the wealth of the race to another and the ultimate loss of that wealth to the race. It is logically evident that if the Negro is rich, he gained all or most of his wealth from his race. Therefore, To ignore the opposite sex of his race and intermarry with another race is to commit a crime or sin for which he should never be pardoned by his race. Teach the people to abhor such Negroes. Have nothing to do with them so long as they continue in that relationship. This must be done diplomatically, not to the hearing of the white race. For safety, let the advice take the form of a whisper campaign. Don't say it from the platform. Whisper it right through the neighborhood and never stop until the burden of your campaign is felt by the individuals, so as to teach them a good lesson that others may not do the same thing with impunity. For a Negro man to marry someone who does not look like his mother or is not a member of his race is to insult his mother, nature, and God, who made his father. The best tribute a race can pay to nature and God is to preserve its species. When it does otherwise, it is in rebellion. Don't be in rebellion against God, nature, or your parents that you know of. They came before you and should have known better. Insist on a campaign of race purity, that is, doing everything moral and social within the race. Close ranks against all other races. It is natural that it is a disgrace to mix your race with other races. To split up the race is unwholesome and does not tend to morally dignify the race. It will be a beautiful thing when we have a standard Negro race. In preaching race purity, be very careful because it is a delicate subject. Most of the people are ignorant of this idealism. You must never put color within the race against color. You must never insult any color within the race. Whatever has happened in the past was without our consent, and truly because slavery and the wicked damnation of the white man imposed upon us moral behavior that we could not restrain. Now that we know better, it is for us to adjust these things within our own race. Teach the people to respect all shades of their own race and never to have prejudice against anyone because he is black, brown, yellow, or any shade that whites claim is not white. Never allow any other race to preside over your affairs. If they come as visitors, they must conduct themselves as visitors. They must never have executive control over you and your affairs because they will always say and do things to suit themselves and that are against your interest, even though they profess the greatest amount of friendship. If they swear on the Bible, don't believe them. If they swear in God, don't believe them. Accept their friendship for all it's worth to you and nothing more. Their interest as a race can never be yours, whether they be Europeans, Asiatics, Jews, or whatever. Never trust a Jew. Don't let him know that. He is playing the odds against you all the time. He plays with loaded dice. His cards are marked. You can never win against him. Make this secret whispering propaganda in every community when you go into a Negro home. Whisper all the time that the Jew is bad. Flatter him as he flatters you and robs you. Never give him a square deal because he is never going to give you one. Tell him how much you love his people and how kind and nice his people are. Get all you can from him and give him nothing back except good words and pleasant smiles. This is his policy. The policy of the Jew is, if he sees a Gentile dying on the pathway and a penny covers his eye as a hope for recovery, he will take it off and let him die. He will not do this to a Jew. You have your answer to this. Treat him similarly. Always try to get something from the Jew because he has always robbed you and your fathers, in that he believes he is the chosen of God, and as such, all other men must pay tribute to him. This is false and fictitious. It is Jewish propaganda. Ignore it and let him pay tribute to you. If tribute must be paid,